friends, welcome back to art. I am on summer vacation right now in Maine, and I went for a little walk in the woods and stumbled across this cool old cabin. I thought it would make the perfect subject to paint. So grab some art materials and let's get started drawing and painting. Press pause and go get the supplies you will need. 1 sheet of white paper, a black Sharpie, markers, and if you're going to be painting, you will need watercolors, a paintbrush, a cup of water, and something plastic to mix paint on. To start our cabin drawing, I'm going to be using a black Sharpie, and we are going to make a few marks on our page so that we know where the placement of our objects will be. So up here, just about maybe 4 fingers down from the top of our page, we'll make a little mark. That's going to be the top of our cabin, the roof of our cabin. And then we're going to come down just almost in the middle of the page, but a little further down, maybe about right there, make another mark. That's going to be the bottom of our roof. And we're going to connect the lines. And it doesn't have to be a perfect line because this is an old cabin, so it's okay if it looks like the cabin is a little rickety and maybe it has a little bit of a sagging roof. Let's make a line, diagonal line down from there. That's going to be the side of our roof. And then we're going to just do another line that goes parallel to the first line all the way up. So that's going to be the roof of our cabin. Now we'll come in a little bit and make another line. That's going to go about there. And then we're going to make another, come over a little ways to the left, make a dot. We're going to come below that, probably about right there on our page. Make another little dot. This is going to be the side edge of our cabin, the corner of the cabin. This little area right here is going to be the porch of our cabin. Now this line here, this is going to be the bottom of our cabin where it touches the grass. So let's do a little bit of a diagonal line just like that. Now we're going to come out and make the bottom of our porch. And this will be the side of our porch. And then we're going to continue this line down. So that's the side view of our cabin. I'm going to add a window here and some horizontal lines to the side of my cabin. Let's start by finishing off our porch. So you'll just put a few vertical lines here so that that looks a little bit like wood. And then we'll do a little bit of texture to our screen for our porch just by doing some diagonal lines. And then I'm going to go the other way so that we're making some crisscross lines. do some diagonal lines this way. That's called cross hatching. Just giving our porch screen a little bit of texture. Okay, we're gonna come over here and do our window. Let's do the side of our window first, the vertical line of our window. It goes up and down like this. So it matches the vertical line of that. Now we're going to match the diagonal line of this. We're going to do it right there. And then like that. Could probably have done that a little bit more. That's okay though. Okay, I'll give a little window ledge here. And a vertical line through the center of my window. And now we'll give a little bit of texture to the cabin. So I'm just going to do a series of horizontal and diagonal lines. It's a little bit tricky, so what you're going to do is you're going to start by going copying the diagonal of this line, and you're going to go like that. And then as you go down the cabin, your lines are going to straighten out a little bit. We're trying to create perspective here, so we're just going to do a series of diagonal lines, and as we get closer to the center of the page, the diagonal lines are going to even out and become straighter. And then as we go down the cabin, we're going to start making our diagonal lines match up with this diagonal line down here. Just gives a little feeling of perspective. Okay, that's it for our cabin. Let's put a little ground under the cabin. So I'm just going to do like a slopey hillside here. It's going to go here. I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to be drawing some trees here. So I'm just giving the basic line of our hillside, and we'll come back in and finish that up in a little bit. We're going to do a few trees up here. So these are going to be like pine trees. So we'll do the top of a triangle like that. And then we're going to come down the tree and match another line going this way. And then match this line going this way. So we're just going to do a series of little V. They're kind of like little sideways V's. And they get a little bit bigger as we go down. So we're going to do another one, and it'll get cut off by the cabin because the tree is behind the cabin. Now we're going to do another one. This one will be a little bit bigger. Kind of like a zigzag line sideways, and then we'll do another, and we're going to stop it there. Now you can make your trees however you want. This next tree I'm going to do similar to this, but I might make the lines a little less perfect, so I think I will start there. Do the top again with a little kind of arrow shape, and then as I go down the side I'm gonna curve it out a little bit and then just do a series of wiggly lines. I'm going to come over to this side and do another series of wiggly lines. And I'm going to stop it when it gets to the cabin. I'm going to do a vertical line and stop it, and then I'm going to pick it back up again, stop it. This just gives the appearance of the tree trunk, but it kind of makes it look like there's maybe some leaves in front of it or something. We'll do the same thing to this tree. A little bit of a dotted line, not perfect. For the rest of this, I might do a few more little tree tops here, but I'm not going to do the entire tree. I'm just going to make it look like there's a bunch of tree tops out in the distance, but I don't have to draw the entire tree. We're creating an illusion of a forest. Okay, so I have the forest here. I'm going to come to the front of my drawing. This area here where this line is called the foreground. I've talked about this in the past on other drawing videos. The foreground is the area closest to the viewer, usually at the bottom of the page. As we go back in space, there's usually something called the middle ground, and then in the very back where these trees are, that's called the background. And in this foreground, I'm going to draw a couple of tall trees. That's why I left this space open right here. So the first thing I will do is draw a line, and it's not going to be a perfect line. I think it'll be a vertical line that'll be maybe a little bit wavy just because trees are not perfect. And then I'm going to do another dot down there. That's going to be the other side of my tree trunk. And as I get closer to the top, my line is going to get skinnier, or it's going to get closer to this line, because that's what happens with trees. They start out fatter on the bottom, and then they get skinnier as they get up towards the top of the tree. So in these trees, I'm going to have a lot of little black markings I'll do with my marker, because I want these to look like birch trees. Birch trees are usually white or light colored trunks with little black or dark markings all the way up. So I'm just going to make a bunch of little marks, little horizontal marks, even some little dots, maybe even a little dark hole in the tree, or a knot in the wood. We're just going to make a bunch of little organic marks. Some of them could be vertical, but most of them are going to be horizontal. All the way up to the top. We're going to add some tree branches in a second, but for right now we're going to leave that tree trunk, and we're going to make the next tree trunk. That tree trunk's going to come from behind a little bit, so we'll create a little mark here, and we're going to do another kind of organic line that goes all the way up. And then this next one will come down, and I think I'll leave a few areas open on this line so that it'll give us a chance to put some leaves and other branches. And then as we get towards the bottom, I think I'll disappear that line behind this tree. Now let's add a bottom to our trees, just a little wavy line that looks like grass or dirt. Maybe I'll even put a couple of grass blades there. You can put whatever you want if you want to make some flowers. And then over here, I'm going to do another wavy line that looks like the bottom of that tree. And a few more grass blades. And then let's make some more tree bark markings on this tree. Just going to do some organic marks, some horizontal marks. Okay, so those are 2 birch trees. And now we're going to add a few branches to these trees. I'm going to put some branches kind of coming off at an angle, some diagonal lines. So let's go through and add the branches first, and then we can add the leaves. We'll do just a few little marks going up each tree trunk. Over on this side. Okay, so just a few diagonal marks up the side of each tree, and now we'll add some leaves. The leaves will just be kind of round, oval. You could even do a mark like that. They're kind of like ovals that are pinched off a little bit with a little tip. And if you want to make it look like there's a bunch of leaves together, you can just create a shape, an organic shape, with little bumpy lines like that. We'll color those in green later. We're just creating shapes right now that we're going to color in later, so don't be too worried about how it looks right now. These are just shapes. I think we'll leave that tree there, and then we're almost done with the drawing part. What you'll do next is create a line in the background, a horizon line in the background where there's going to be water here. This area where the water is going to be, we'll have a line where the water meets the land or the trees. That's the horizon line. So let's come over to the cabin just below the roof and make a line all the way to the leaf and stop. the horizon line is very far back in the picture, so it's going to go behind our trees. So it's just going to be peeking through our trees. Then you're going to pick it back up again, and you're going to go all the way across. So the trees are in front of the horizon line. This will be our lake, blue, and then this area in the background where our trees are will be kind of like a light green. We want it to look like it's far away. So this blank area right here, I think I'll just add a few more little treetops to my forest. So we'll start with another arrow shape or an upside down V, and then another one and another one. And then these lines don't have to be perfect. I'm just going to do a little wiggly line there. Okay, and a few more tree trunks for my trees. And then a few more trees in front here, just to fill up that space. Most of these are just lines to look like there's a bunch of trees together. We're not making perfect trees. So there's our drawing. Now we're going to have fun coloring it in. I'm going to be using watercolors for this painting today. And I might also use some markers just for some more details. When you use watercolors, it's important to clean your brush off in between every color, unless you're mixing colors. First thing I think I'll do is this sky. So I'm going to wet my brush, and I'm just going to put a little bit of water in the area where my sky is to get the page wet first. That'll make my watercolor flow easier in the areas where I want to paint. So I'm going to get a good amount of water in the tray where the color is, get my brush nice and wet, and then it should go on the page really easy after that. When your page is wet and you're mixing watercolors, the color will flow really easily. I'm going to stop the blue when I get to the trees, because those are going to be a different color. Clean your brush off. And for the background trees, I might do them a light green color, but I'm also going to mix a few colors as well, because I want my forest to be kind of interesting with different colors of trees. So I'm going to put the light green on my trees that are furthest away. And I think I'll leave that. You can even brush a little into your other trees just to give them a little extra color. And then I'm going to draw the trees closer, a little bit of a darker green. I do have a darker green here as well. I have 3 colors of green. I think I will just kind of mix all the different greens, use all the different greens. That makes my trees more interesting. Okay, we're just going to fill that background area up with green. The little tree trunks there, I'm going to put a little brown on my brush, and I'm just going to put a little soft line of brown in the areas where my tree trunks are. I'm not going to go all the way up and down. I just want to give the hint that there's a little tree trunk there. Okay, so That was pretty easy. I just did my sky and my background. You can make your cabin whatever color you want. I'm going to do a red cabin because that's a pretty traditional color for a cabin, and that's what color this cabin was that I found. I'll try that color out. For this, I might actually use two different reds since I have them. If you don't have those colors, that's okay. I think I'll do my lines in a darker color, and then I'll fill them in with a lighter red. Now this window here, instead of leaving it white, I'm just going to add a little teeny bit of blue. Just a touch of blue. Just to make it look like glass. And then for the trim of the cabin, I think I will do that brown, like wood. And then this little porch area, maybe I'll just put a touch of, I don't even know what color that is. It looks like purple. Just a really light color. Okay, there's my cabin. And for my grass, all I have to do is the grass and the water, and then the leaves on the trees, and then I'm done. So the grass, since the grass is closest, this area here in the foreground, I'm going to do the darkest green mixed with my kind of medium color green. And you can even give it some texture marks. So just a series of lines. I'll do the leaves of this tree lighter green. Mixed with a little medium tone green. And we're just going to fill these shapes in here. The last thing I'll do is the water. So again, I'm going to wet the area first so that my paint flows. And I'm going to be using this turquoise color, and I'm just going to paint around the leaves. And at this point you can go in and darken any areas if you want. add some texture. If I want to add some little ripples to the water. Okay, so this painting was mostly watercolor, but I mentioned using markers, so you can also use markers. It's easier to use the markers once the painting is dry, but you can go in and just add some more detailed marks with the markers. Maybe add some more grass. Or I could make my rooftop of my cabin a little bit darker. Maybe darker outlines. Up to you. This is kind of the fun part where we're just adding more dimension. Add some wood texture marks. I'm finished. Here's my little red cabin drawing. I hope you had fun making art with me. Until next time, bye-bye.